In this video, we're going to set up multiple Python virtual environments using venv, virtualenv, pipenv, conda, and poetry. You might ask, might even wonder, why would you do this? By creating Python virtual environments, we're able to create isolated environments where we can install various Python libraries without the risk of polluting the system installation of Python. It also enables us as developers to ensure that we have isolation between the various dev projects we are working with. I will initially be configuring various Python virtual environments on a Windows PC. I will also venture into Linux and possibly Mac installation of Python virtual environments. It's not rocket science, and there are a couple of nuances between systems. So without further ado, let's get started. Let's start with the virtual environment creator that ships with Python, venv. As alluded to earlier, we set up Python virtual environments so we don't mess with the system Python installation. Before we begin, let's change to my testing directory. This will be different for you. This is an arbitrary directory structure to enable us to easily clean up later. Whilst this directory, let's execute the command pip list. This will provide a list of Python packages that are installed on the system already. You'll see we will be using this fairly often to check our work. Let's create our first Python virtual environment using venv. Enter the following on the command line: Python -m venv and then your environment name. This tells Python to create a virtual environment called venv environment. Now that we've created a new virtual environment, let's activate it. You will note the prefix at the beginning, which is actually our virtual environment name. This is how we know the virtual environment is active. Once again, let's run pip list. This time, we only see pip installed. That's because we are in a virtual environment and no system packages have been installed here yet. Now let's install a numpy package into a virtual environment. It should take a few seconds to load. If we do pip list again, you'll see we've now got numpy and pip installed in our environment. When you're finished with the virtual environment, you can type deactivate to deactivate it. This will deactivate your environment and return to the system. You'll note that the virtual environment name will go. That should get you up and running with venv. I will leave links to all the packages at the end of the video with pointers to their documentation. Now let's do the same with virtualenv. Unlike venv, virtualenv is a separate Python package in its own right. It needs to be installed onto the system before you can use it. Some of the more eagle-eyed of you may have noticed earlier when we did the pip list of the system install that virtualenv is already installed on my system. If you haven't done so already, let's install virtualenv. As I said, mine was already installed. Yours might take a few seconds longer. Now we have the package that we can create a new virtual environment. We call it marginally virtualenv. The environment is now created. Now we can activate it. Same as we did for venv scripts /activate. Do pip list, we can see what's installed. And we can install package by pip install, do scapy. Pip list again to see what's there. And we'll uninstall the package this time. It asks you if you want to install it. Yes, we do. Pip list. Well, that's nice. Pip only. And when you're done with the environment, you just do deactivate, and that is virtualenv. Pipenv is a bit more complicated than the previous venv and virtualenv that we've already looked at. Pipenv is meant to provide users and developers with an easy way to arrive at a consistent working project environment. Again, as it's not shipped with Python, we have to install this first before using it. Pipenv amalgamates virtual environments and package management into one tool. I've created a pipenv environment directory to simulate a project directory. So let's go ahead and install pipenv. So that goes off and installs it. Pipenv install, which will install anything that's in a pip file. There isn't anything, and now we need to go to the shell. As you can see, again, we've got the virtual environment shell at the beginning. So let's go ahead and install some packages. Pipenv install requests. As you can see, it goes off and does a whole bunch of dependency checking, sets it up, and you can see it's updating its pipfile.log. Again, that's different from what we had previously with venv and virtualenv. If you want to see what's installed like a pip list, you can do pip env graph, which is the pipenv way of showing it, or pip list still works. As you can see, it's all in there. If we want to remove a package, again, it's an uninstall. That's all requests. There's a whole more to pipenv, and I'll put the details in the last slide, so you can go and look at some documentation for it. Again, when we want to deactivate our virtual environment in pipenv, it's not the same as virtualenv or venv, where we type deactivate. All we do here is, because we're in a shell, we just type exit. That brings you back to the command line. As you can see, our virtual environment is now gone. The Conda environment and package manager comes from the Anaconda Data Science project. It's a very friendly and intuitive environment and package manager. I used it for a long time and was more than happy with it. I'm not going to go through the install of Conda here. I'll leave pointers to it in the description of the video. Set up Conda on my command line. I just go to my drop down in Windows, select the Anaconda prompt. Now we've got Conda up and running. Let's go and create a new environment. So here we go, Conda create, mine's its name, the name of the environment you want to create. And here Conda allows you to actually stipulate what version of Python you want. So we'll go for 349. It asks you to confirm you want to create the environment. As you can see in there, it's going to install Python 3.9.20. That's a yes. It'll go up and it'll set it all up. So that's the environment now there. So now just need to activate the environment. Conda activate the environment. And there you go. The environment's up and running. Now that we have our environment up and running, we can start to install some packages. We'll install Panda as the data science package. Ask you what you want to do, and off it goes and install it all. It's a very nice interface and it works really, really well. It's finished, so exit and verify. Now let's remove a package. Very simple. Conda remove pandas. Go to it, ask you if you're sure you want to do. Clears out nicely. When you're finished with your environment and it's time to close it down, it's just Conda deactivate. The environment's torn down. Final commands for Conda. Conda env list, which lists your Conda environments. And then if you finish the Conda environment and you're ready to just get rid of it, Conda env remove, minus name and your environment name. Again, it will ask you if you want to proceed. I want all that to be deleted. Do an env list again, you'll see your environment has gone. Finally, we get onto poetry. Poetry is my new favourite. I found it incredibly confusing to start with. I think that was down to using a different IDE. Now that I have time to use it and different IDE, I'm really enjoying it. Poetry touts itself as a dependency management and packaging tool. It wants to ensure that whenever you build, it is repeatable if someone downloads your code. It uses a lock file to ensure that installs are repeatable. Once again, the documentation on Poetry and how to install it will be in the video description. First off, let's create a new Poetry project. You change it in the directory because in there's the PyProject.toml file which it requires once you do Poetry shell. There we are, we're now in a new environment. We'll ignore that small typo with shell earlier. Now we should go off and add some packages in. With Poetry, it's Poetry add in the package name, so let's just do numpy, the Y. Lock it in, and if we type out our PyProject.toml file, we should see numpy in there. Yes, there we are. It's added it already in. Well, that was a whistle-stop tour of several package managers for Python. I hope you find this useful. If you have any questions, please leave in the comments below. Thanks for watching.